Hey Spuddies, Potato McWhiskey here and welcome to Let's Play Civilization 6, and today we're going to be doing something oh so devilishly devious. Recently I made a unique unit tier list where I talked about how kind of mediocre the Viking Longship is, and I will readily put my hands in the air and admit I was wrong because oh my god, in the right hands with the right strategy, this unit and the Berserker is incredibly powerful. In all honesty, I should probably have put the Berserker somewhere north of C tier, because in the very situational strategy that we're going to be employing, it is a ridiculously powerful unit. Norway has been a bit of a joke civilization pretty much from launch, and despite the fact that they've received numerous buffs, I've kind of written them off without really paying too much attention to them. However, I really should not have been writing off those buffs, because the major buff they received in Gathering Storm, which allows them to get science from pillaging coastal mines and culture from pillaging plantations, pastures, quarries, and camps, is oh so ridiculously powerful. To put it in perspective, a single pillage of a mine can be worth around an entire turn's worth of science. So if you can pillage 4 of those, you're now 4 turns ahead on science. Without further ado, let's talk about the game settings. We will be playing as Harald Hardrada of Norway on Deity difficulty, standard game speed with 16 city-states on apocalypse mode on an archipelago map with abundant resources. Here are the game and map seeds. However, if you don't want to input all that information, the save file will be available in my Discord, linked in the description of this video. This is far from an ideal starting location, however, it's pretty okay. We do have some good fishing resources nearby, so if we do pick up the fishing boat Pantheon, which is what I plan to do as Norway, it can be really valuable, as well as if we can get our hands on a holy site. Now, ideally, I would place the holy site here because it would get +1 adjacency from both these mountains, as well as another adjacency from these 2 woods, bringing it to a total of +3. However, the problem is, I don't know if you've spotted it, but there's an active volcano right here, and we're playing on apocalypse mode, which means that volcano is going to be erupting regularly, pillaging anything within 2 tiles of that volcano. So I'm kind of prevented from building any infrastructure within 2 tiles of that volcano. So the holy site will be popped right here, adjacent to the harbour that I also plan to build in this city. Now, the important thing about this strategy is, I've done this a few times. And a lot of people say, oh, you get longships and you start producing them, you send them out, you start pillaging. I think that's actually the wrong way to do things. What you want to do is establish a little bit of a power base, maybe settle 4, 5, 6 cities, and then start mass producing longships. I think this is a far more sustainable way to actually do this strategy, and so that's what I'll be doing today. We're settling on a plains hill, so I'm happy enough with our starting location, so we'll pop right down there. And of course, like any Civ game, you always want to start with a scout. Even if you're playing on an island map, it's good to get 1 scout, because the islands can tend to be a little bit bigger than you would otherwise think. Now, I haven't talked a huge amount about Norway's bonuses, but one of them is the Stave Church. And the Stave Church is not an amazing building, but it can be a way to get value from getting a religion as Norway, and then transitioning into getting production from your religion. So I think a Stave Church is a pretty good thing, so we are going to want to get a holy site early. I don't know if I'm going to try hard for a religion, but I will at least go for an early holy site to see if I can get one. We also have the Viking Longship, which again is a unique galley that has a little bit more movement and a little bit more combat strength, and it can pillage enemy coastal lands and capture civilians using the coastal raiding ability, which is of course available to all Norwegian melee naval units. We also have Nar, which allows us to enter into ocean tiles, which means once we get a certain amount of technology, like the shipbuilding tech, we'll be able to just spread our little noodly Viking Longship tendrils all around the universe and sort of pillage every single player's coastline. Technically speaking, I'm playing the Barbarians this game because my plan isn't really to try to win, it's to kind of just ruin everyone else's day. Now, the reason why the Berserker is so good is because if you look at where naval techs are, right? I want to get shipbuilding. Shipbuilding is over here. And eventually I'm going to want to get something like mass production and cartography, right? Let's say if we click on cartography, there's 8 techs on the way to cartography. One of them is mathematics. So it's very easy to kind of just go for mathematics and quickly grab berserkers. Now we will have to stop off for bronze working for iron, but actually speaking, these military tactics units are very good for coastal civs, because I don't have to spend all my time researching all this bottom half of the tech tree. I can almost exclusively focus my science on this top half naval portion of the tech tree, and then I'm really close to getting mass production, which is also in line with military tactics. And that's why I think the berserker is really good. However, starting off, we will just be grabbing astrology because I would like to get an early holy site, and then I'll probably pick up sailing so that when I have enough gold, I'll pop down a builder and grab myself a couple of fishing boats on these tiles over here. We discovered a barbarian encampment and what I think will be my next city. I don't know if it'll be the next one. We'll do a bit more exploring and see if there's better lands, but I definitely want to settle here. There's a really good harbour and potentially a decent holy site as well in this city adjacent to that harbour. That'll also boost all these fishing tiles. One thing I want to talk about is that there's a bit of a knack to clearing barbarian encampments with a single warrior. And the trick is to attack once and then heal for a couple of turns and then attack twice more, promote and kill. So I attacked it already, and you can see here it would be a major defeat. So I'll just take a couple of turns to recover a little bit of health. One thing I want to talk about is the fact that this city has very low food income until we get these fishing tiles, which means even though I would like to be building a settler right now, it's not really an option. And since the city is growing in 9 turns, and the monument will be finished in 10, I'm going to go ahead and get the monument because that will also lead to me picking up some of these nice cards earlier in the game, and that'll make up for the fact that I'm having a bit of a slow start due to the lack of food. Now that I can see that my warrior will have more than half of his health left on the next attack, I will be able to attack again, get up to 10 experience, and then attack one more time to get up to 15, promote, and then kill this barbarian encampment. Like I said, we'll attack one more time. We'll get the promotion, we'll promote next turn, and then kill the turn after. Always take the battle cry promotion in the early game, because if you look at this spearman over here, it will say +7 combat, and it makes it much easier to clear barbarian encampments with a single warrior. I did find a tribal village, but because I managed to get a couple of hits on that enemy scout, I think I'm going to wait for Code of Laws and just heal this guy up, and then get the promotion from this. Ooh, there's the Mega Colossal Eruption. I think there was a Barbarian Scout around here that just got murked due to this eruption because it did say that a unit died. And look at this citrus tile. It's a beauty. I cannot wait to start working that. Again, this is a bit of a double-edged sword because it's going to be killing population, it's going to be killing infrastructure. However, it will provide me with some really nice yields throughout the game, which makes me pretty happy. Clear the Barb camp, grab ourselves military tradition as well as another tribal village. Beautiful. And I like to err on the side of caution, just taking my time to heal my units up. Always keep your warrior within a certain number of turns of your capital, because in case a barbarian encampment appears nearby, you need to be able to come back quickly and defend. I managed to find Mount Kilimanjaro. There's also a forest fire going on right here, which finished astrology for me. Actually, quite perfectly the turn that I finished my monument as well. Now, I could go for a settler, or I could go for the holy site. And I'm trying to think what is the best return on investment. Nobody's earning a great profit just yet, so I feel like the settler is the better return on investment. Now, the holy site would be really nice to get my Pantheon, but I think I could just plug in God King and get my Pantheon, and then plug in Survey as well to let my scout get a bit more experience from killing things. Ooh, I got a builder for free as well. That's massive, because normally a builder would cost me around 200 gold at this stage of the game, but getting it for free is a really, really big deal, because that's 200 gold that I can put towards other things. I think I'm going to work on foreign trade because my goal is to get to early empire relatively quickly this game to see if I can crack out a few extra settlers. I've met Cahokia, but I wasn't the first to meet them, so I didn't quite get the envoy here. However, I should be able to get enough gold to purchase a trader in Nidaros and send it to them and get that envoy. So that'll be a really valuable trader, especially since I don't need to buy a builder, thanks to the fact that I found one with the tribal village that I picked up. Oh, there's another tribal village right here. And Mount Kilimanjaro is going to be an amazing place to put a city. So I'm thinking the closest I can put one is right there. And I don't care if it's like right on this, because this city will grow so incredibly quickly due to being attached to Kilimanjaro and all the food around here, that I don't really care if it kind of struggles from getting hit by the volcano. Also, I got another scout, which is really damn nice. Not the ideal unit that I would hope for, but I'll take a scout any day of the week for free. I can also just about see the borders of somebody who looks like maybe Germany? Not sure yet. Oh, we picked up an envoy. I could send that to Cahokia right now, but I think my plan is to get that with foreign trade and the trader, so I'll hold off on spending that envoy for right now. Oh, and it was Egypt that I found. Okay, it's an honor to meet you. You can see here they're already skyrocketing in science and culture, so we will have to spend a bit of time catching up, but eventually, when they build all their coastal infrastructure, we will be using the Viking Longship to take them out. Oh, we also ran into Dido. Nice to meet you, Dido. She's over here. In fact, she's actually really close to Egypt. I wouldn't be surprised if one or the other declared war on each other this game. Oh, and we bumped into Caguana, who can allow us to build Beatties. But that extra +2 culture is really nice. It's like having an extra monument in our capital, so that makes me very happy indeed. And the hard part is there's going to be a bit of a loyalty problem over here. So I might have to hold off on settling this city. You know what? By the time that I get my guy over there, I should have enough to get a governor and maybe purchase a monument. Maybe I could skip buying the trader. I don't know. I'll make a decision on that. I guess what I'll do is if I'm going to skip buying the trader, I will put one envoy into Cahokia to get that +4 gold immediately. And instead I'll buy a monument in here to try to get to early empire a little bit quicker, and then place a governor in here to maintain loyalty. Now that I have my first settler, I think it would be a good idea now to go for the holy site. And the reason for that is I'm not too far off picking up early empire, so it'll be more efficient to wait until I produce more settlers. There is sailing, which allows us to build our fishing ships, which is perfect because this city needs growth tiles, and the only way we're going to get growth tiles is on these coastal tiles. Alright, sailing and astrology. The next logical choice would be celestial navigation, but I think I might head over here and grab animal husbandry just so I can get archers, because I'm going to want to declare war on Egypt fairly early into this game, which means I'm going to be at war with her early into the game, so I'm going to need a unit that can defend. Like, the Viking Longship is great, don't get me wrong, but it won't stop her from flooding this pass with Egyptian chariot archers. There is the improved crabs. We're not too far off getting our pantheon, and hopefully I can get the fishing boat pantheon. It would make me very happy if I could. But now the city actually has growth tiles, and it'll grow in a reasonable amount of time. Oh, we bumped into the Mare as well. Nice to meet you, Mare. That's going to be a bit of a problem for me because they might have settled some of the islands. I was hoping to take advantage of the fact that Norway is really good at settling on coastal maps, but it looks like the Mare might be beating me to that. Oh, we also bumped into Jerusalem. This is actually really annoying to the Mare in this game, because my plan was to try to meet all the city-states in the game first with my boats, but now that the Mare are in the game, that's just kind of a pipe dream for me, so that really sucks. Let us settle the city by Kilimanjaro. Now you might say, minus 15 loyalty, that's insane, you're crazy. However, this is a coastal city, so it will have enough housing to grow with tons of food, which will allow it to grow population. We also have the goal to purchase a monument. Okay, so you can see here, yeah, sure, the city will be going disloyal very quickly, 7 turns. However, if I buy that monument, kaboom, now it should bring that down to quite a few less turns. And then I'm only 6 turns away from early empire, which will, when the city grows in 3 turns, it'll get a bit more loyalty, and then I'll plop a governor in here, and it'll be fine. It should be totally fine. And also, by about then, I'll get a city over here to provide a bit of extra loyalty pressure, and a couple of cities down here as well. So I should be able to survive this without too many issues. Another fishing tile online. This time, this one gives me 3 food. I will prefer to work the 3 food tile because it'll allow me to grow just that little bit quicker. Looks like a barb cap spawned over here. I'm going to have to deal with that as soon as possible, because if I don't, it's going to become a massive pain in my backside. Now, it looks like she already has some coastal infrastructure worth pillaging, namely the Sphinx and holy sites, but farms aren't really worth pillaging because they just heal your unit, so not really massive amounts of value there. I would like to pick up celestial navigation, I think, but I think I'm going to go for archery so that I can get a couple of archers in Bergen to defend this city. It looks like Egypt and Dido are already at war. There's early empire, because they're seeming to attack each other, which is good news for me because it means they'll be very distracted. My only hope is that I can clear this barb camp fast enough before whatever is going to spawn from here spawns. Now let's go ahead and grab ourselves Liang, I think. I think I'll grab Liang and plonk her into Bergen, and that'll sort out the loyalty problem I have there, at least for the short term. And now I can start to work towards political philosophy for my tier 2 government. In order to defend this, ideally, I'm about to get my Pantheon, so I think I can pull out God King now that I have a natural faith income coming from my holy site. I'm going to plug in urban planning, and I'm also going to plug in discipline, because unfortunately I need to grab myself a unit here. And I think I'll grab another slinger to try to keep things nice and safe. Now this scout should not be in range to tell this city about my city, in my opinion. It should have to touch the camp, but if it can, I'm going to be super mad when this spawns barbs on me. Here comes my own scout to save the day, killing that little scout, and I should be able to clear this barb camp no problem in a couple of turns. Just do not spawn anything, please. Okay, brilliant. There's the barb camp dead. We pick up a little bit of gold. I now have access to the turtles. That's going to give me even more loyalty, keep me even safer. I didn't need the slinger in like hindsight 2020. I didn't need that slinger. Oh well, it'll form a part of my army. Dido wants to buy my horses. I don't remember where I got horses, but I mean, I'll sell them to you, no problem. I like that extra gold income. Although I'm not sure Dido is really going to survive the next period of time. Alright, let's pull out discipline. We're going to plug in maritime industry so that we can start producing Viking longships. And I'm also going to plug in colonization so I can start producing more settlers in my capital city. There's our Pantheon. Let's grab God of the Sea. That'll be a nice little boost to these fishing tiles. Look at that, +1 production on those. Very happy with that result. Looks like KTY is, it's not having a good time right now. Bro, it is straight up not having a good time. I'm curious as to why they started building a wonder here and then cancelled it when they're in the middle of like a massive siege. Hopefully they can survive, because I don't want to have to try to liberate them. There is the very first Viking Longship, which is going to give us a golden age, which makes me very, very happy, because I might be able to use that golden age to do other really interesting things. I'm also going to grab a settler in Bergen to try to fill out my land. There's room for like what looks like 3 settlers, maybe an extra one down here as well. I just want to get that last bit of exploration in. I'm kind of glad these guys are going to war with each other, because it means they're grinding down each other's deity advantage by wasting production fighting. There's archery. I want to get to work on celestial navigation and then shipbuilding, because those are my key sort of begin pillaging the world technologies. Oh hey, we bumped into Singapore. Nice to meet you, Singapore. Not sure they're going to be super useful, but the exploration has begun. The first couple of Viking longships are just going to be explorers so that we can figure out where and when we want to pillage. And the rest of them will eventually be the true pillaging force. There's a state workforce giving us access to our next governor. I could go for Pingala here, I could go for Pingala here. I could also go for Magnus, appoint him into Nidaros, and then chop out my settlers with a builder purchase. I'm not entirely opposed to that idea. So I think getting those builders out sooner matters more than these forests being around, because we'll be able to get production in here from our shipyard. Although, now that I think about it, without these tiles, the city's going to have really bad production. Whatever, we'll do it anyway. The Mare want open borders. I don't know where I'm getting these horses from. Like, I have no idea. Like, did I settle on horses or something? Oof, catastrophic eruption that killed 2 population in Bergen, but it did fertilize the tiles, which makes me very happy. Oh yes, look at these science tiles now. In fact, kind of tempted to buy this tile over here, although I kind of want to save that for a builder. Oh, we have a golden age, so this is actually going to make things really interesting for me, because I could go for free inquiry here and quickly build harbors for science. However, a lot of my production is going to want to go into units, so alternatively I could grab Exodus of the Evangelists and potentially grab myself a religion here. There's 3 more religions to go, and I think +4 great people points per turn is a huge amount. So I think I'll grab Exodus of the Evangelists here, because it would be nice to have a religion. One thing I plan to do for this series is to actually like keep count of everything that I pillage, including tribal villages. So there is Knowledge of the Wheel, which gave me suzerainty of a city-state. I'm not sure how or why I got those boosts, but I'm not complaining. I'm now a suzerain of Caguana. I don't know how I'm going to write that down, but I'll keep track of things like faith, gold, and science from pillaging. We're 1 turn away from Magnus being established in here, so I'm going to go ahead and purchase that builder to chop out my next settlers a little bit quicker. It's always kind of scary when a giant super typhoon, category 5 hurricane, or whatever it's called, just rolls across your territory. Oops, I never researched mining. I never researched mining to actually chop these settlers out, so I guess I'm improving the horses. Well, I mean, it's still a good tile. It's just like big dumb on my part. Wait, how did this get pillaged? How did my holy site get pillaged? This isn't in range of the volcano. Oh, the typhoon! Goddamn hurricane floated through and ruined my holy site. That is extremely triggering. Lovely. There is political philosophy. We are going to be taking oligarchy to have better naval units. So we'll be plugging in maritime industry, and we'll also be plugging in urban planning for a little bit of extra production, and I'll plug in charismatic leader for now. This will allow me to produce my boats just that little bit quicker. Now, the eventual goal with Tromsø is to make this to be my internal trade route destination. And the reason for that is everyone is going to hate me, and so they're not going to want to trade with me. So I'll settle Tromsø and slowly build up things like a government plaza. In fact, I want that immediately, pretty much. So I might start that right now, although I think it's about time I started mass producing my Viking Longships, so I'll need to get that underway. Now that we have political philosophy, it's worth it to head towards theology to pick up our religion. Finally, we have mining, and we can chop out this settler and start moving him over to where he belongs. Now the question is, do we want to get one more settler after this, or like in my capital, or do we want to just start mass producing Viking Longships? I will quickly repair the holy site, however. And I think 5 cities is enough for me this early into the game. And the second that this city is settled, I'll start like declaring war on people and pillaging their coastlines. I'd rather not declare a war while I have like little settlers running around in the wild, because that could potentially backfire on me. Man, this thing is just erupting constantly. Look at this territory. Look at this land. This city definitely needs a granary. So I'll quickly swing by and pick up that granary before I head towards shipbuilding. Ooh, Buenos Aires has a ton of coastal improvements that I can pillage immediately. Get that longship over there right now. This is exactly the kind of city-state that I've been looking for. I can declare war on them, pillage all their stuff, and get a ton of value. We also just unlocked Celestial Navigation, which makes me very, very happy. Oh, I'm going to have so much fun pillaging these guys. Look at all these tiles. Settled the city of Oslo. And I could go straight for a monument, but I think I just want a couple of longships out of each of these cities first. I will, of course, be placing my harbours down to lock in the low price of 100 production, which is something I should really do in a lot of these cities. Tromsø is going to be different, though, because it's going for the government plaza first. And if I start to plan this city out, what I want in here is to eventually have Magnus established in this city with the surplus logistics policy that'll give the city extra food trade routes. Again, because I'm going to be trading internally, I'm going to be limited on external trade routes because I'm going to be at war with everyone, and I don't want my boats getting pillaged in the water. I'll definitely want a harbour in this city. I don't want to build any districts within 2 tiles of this volcano, so that's kind of a limiting factor. I do think that a commercial hub would belong here eventually. I do think a government plaza belongs here, and I think eventually there'll be a encampment on this tile as well. And these are all of the districts that provide production from trade routes, which is what I'm trying to optimize this city for, is when I send a trade route to it, I want a good amount of food, but I'm more interested in getting the districts that give production. If you're wondering how you tell if a district will give you production from domestic destination trade routes, all you have to do is search for the type of district you want to look at, then come down here to trade yields. It'll say domestic destination, and it will give you +1 production from domestic trade routes. If I take a moment, for example, to look at a campus, you can see here that the domestic destination yield from a campus is food, and the international one is science. That means if you're trading to a city that has a campus, you'll get +1 science if it's international, and if it's domestic, i.e. within your own empire, you'll get +1 food from that trade route. I'm going to pillage this pasture. We pick up 29 culture and 49 faith. Now, just to put that amount of culture in perspective, that was like 2.5 turns worth of culture for me right now. And it's basically a full turn of the Maori's culture, which means I'm starting to catch back up. Even though I'm producing a navy, I'm not actually producing infrastructure. I'm catching back up to the AI by building military units, which is insane. The hard thing is the city does have an archer in it, so they will do a bit of damage to me, but that's okay. I can accept taking a bit of damage from them. I have another 260 gold in the bank, and I think that's going to go into monuments. Monuments are super valuable, as are granaries, but I think monuments are more valuable because they allow me to do things like spread my borders, research new technologies, new civics, all that sort of jazz. Oh, that's really unfortunate. It looks like I didn't actually get a religion this game. Looks like I was sniped with only a few turns remaining. Not the end of the world. I mean, I'm still going to invest in faith because it's going to be useful at some point to do something with my faith, namely soothsayers, when I start yeeting units into volcanoes. Also, it's probably a good idea to buy this orange tile because it's going to make this city grow extremely fast. In fact, to the point where I'm going to go ahead and place down this harbour to lock in its price and then slowly work on a granary in here. Ooh, I might even be able to steal a builder here. Now, the unfortunate thing is when you pillage a builder, it stays on the land tile for some reason. I don't know why, but they might just take it back, which would suck. But if I can get this builder to jump into the water, it now belongs to me. Yoink. Let's pillage another pasture. Oh, look at that. Finish my tech. 29 culture, 54. The really nice thing about the Vikings as well is that their units can heal outside their territory. So I can come back here just continuously, like healing over here, then coming back to pillage, running away to heal, coming back to pillage, and essentially use these guys as like a bank of resources that I can just dip into whenever I want. I mean, I already stole a single build charge, and sure, it's only one build charge, but it's a build charge that I had to spend 0 of my own resources to acquire. Settling our very last city, at least in the early game, means that it is time to declare war. I will, of course, get my boats into position first so that they can actually get some good pillages off. One will have to run all the way around here, but I'm sure, for example, that these Sphinx will be really nice to pillage, as well these holy sites. Anything else, though, doesn't look too great. We're mostly going to get faith from pillaging these guys, which is fine. It's not that big of a deal. Let us declare the surprise war. Well, actually, I can declare a formal war and take slightly less grievances with Egypt. Now, that's perfect. And I can come in here and very swiftly kill some of these. There's another 54 faith. Ooh, I wonder what the Sphinx actually give. 54 faith. So they give a pretty damn nice amount. Look at this. Look, we have like 200 faith purely just from pillaging. Well, I mean, I guess I earned a little bit of it myself, but I mean, I pillaged over here, I got a bunch of faith. I pillaged over here, I got a bunch of faith. It's just like deliciously overpowered. I feel like I really have to say, I want to take back everything negative I've ever said about Norway. This is a fantastic civilization. They're incredibly overpowered and they're a ton of fun to play. Okay, hopefully that'll appease the comment section who've been whining at me for the last year or more and who I have been sadly ignoring. Don't mind if I kill your Sphinx and steal another 54 faith from you. They're shooting my longships now, but I'm like right adjacent to their infrastructure. And at this point, I don't even care about the yields. This is just about doing damage to Egypt to slow them down, because they're kind of running away with the game in comparison to the other civs right now. So if I can do damage to their economy, that'll leave me in a much better position to actually come back into the game. One thing that really bothers me, though, is that you can't pillage land trade routes with coastal raiding, but you can steal another 54 faith. Thank you very much. Oh my goodness, it is so OP. I have like 300 faith right now. I could like buy great people if I wanted to. I was supposed to keep this archer, but I'm kind of tempted to sacrifice it. I would like to win this Appease the Gods, because there's potentially some interesting forest fires that I could light on this island, like over here, for example, which would fertilize 4 tiles. Over here it would fertilize 5. There's also some potential here for me to snipe Memphis. If I could grab Memphis, that would be a huge feather in my cap. So I'm going to see if I can pull that off. We have shipbuilding, which means we can start to build quadriremes. We're literally about to take Memphis, essentially for free. Thanks for the free city, Egypt, as well as all the pillaging. I'll quickly grab Liang and pop her over into Memphis to keep the loyalty high. Would have been good to have the money to purchase a archer to defend the city, but not that big of a deal. I mean, I highly doubt I'll hold on to the city, but that's not really the point. The point is, I was able to take a city for very little, and now that I've pillaged all of the coastline that I essentially care, because the rest is just farms, I would actually like to get that aqueduct. If I could somehow grab that aqueduct, I'd be super happy. But now I can just piece Egypt out, move my navy over to Dido, although she's going to be a bit harder because she has the bireme. But if I can get over to Dido and pillage her lands, like especially her harbors, I'll be in really, really damn good shape. Oh, lovely. I found a Mare city that I should be very happy to pillage once they finish this lighthouse. This thing is just basically a giant Marian pinata waiting to explode with resources. I think, however, I'm going to end this on that little bit of a cliffhanger. I am building a little bit of infrastructure in some of my cities, but I am still mass producing Viking Longships because I produce one every 1 or 2 turns. I want to thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope you guys tune in for the insanity that will ensue the next episode when I start trying to find even more people and just continuously pillage their coastlines. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!